We begin in Thailand, where the leader of the anti-government protests has told supporters to escalate their campaign and take over more government buildings. The demonstrators are angry about a bill that gives amnesty to the brother of the current Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra. Thaksin Shinawatra was himself Prime Minister before he was overthrown in a military coup. Yingluck says she's open to talks, but the protesters have so far rejected dialogue. But it's not just the opposition that's flexing its muscle on Bangkok streets. Pro-government demonstrations are also taking place. These are pictures of a rally at a stadium that's been organised by the ruling party. Our correspondent Scott Heidler joins me live now from Democracy Monument in Bangkok. Scott, what do the protesters have planned for today?
Well, right now is very interesting. Within the last half hour, Elizabeth, a very interesting situation presented itself here at Democracy Monument. This is one of the big gathering points in the city for these anti-government protesters. Behind me, there's obviously a stage, you can hear that, but there are also large screen televisions. Now, the Democratic Party, the opposition party, has a television channel, and just a little bit ago, they were broadcasting live images of protesters that got into the DSI, that's the Department of Special Investigations compound, and it was very, very tense. Everyone had kind of rushed to the stage, so they were watching these images live as they happened, and there are a couple of protesters who actually went to the door of this police special division headquarters, and they were trying to jimmy open the doors. There are big cheers here, but the organizers on the ground told the protesters not to try to get into the building. So right now we can tell you that they are occupying that complex. And as you said, Elizabeth, that's the orders, if you will, from the protest leaders today, yet again, for the anti-government protesters to fan out across the city and to occupy other government facilities, other government installations. We also know that they're heading over to some of the telecommunications companies run by the government. Elizabeth.
So are they keeping up their momentum, Scott, the opposition 1 week on from when the protests started?
Yeah, the opposition, the government, pro-government supporters, they are protesting or having a rally is more accurate way to say, in a football stadium just outside the city. We went there last week. They held a fairly large one last Sunday there. They're holding it again today. Something interesting, though, the anti-government organizers have started to get people to go to a university that's very close to the stadium. Never in this week of big protests have we seen these two sides, if you will, going face to face. One of the reasons is because the red shirts, the pro-government protester supporters, haven't really been out in the streets very publicly, if you will. They've always been in the stadium. And this is the first time that the anti-government protesters, the yellow shirts, have gone out to where the stadium is. Now, very small numbers now. We know a call has gone out by this university, the alumni association, if you will, of this university, trying to bring students in. But as far as a different tactic going on, too, we saw something interesting on Friday where there was a small letter campaign. Organizers of these protesters brought letters with them to the head of the Thai Royal Army yesterday, delivered a letter to the general. They also delivered a letter to the U.S. ambassador. So these letters are pretty much asking where their is it the anti-protesters or is it with the current government? So that was an interesting tactic. But again, they're occupying as many buildings as they can. It was interesting even today when they're listing out their targets. They even listed the National Zoo here in Bangkok. Elizabeth.
Very interesting tactics indeed. Thank you, Scott. That's Scott Heidler joining us from the Thai capital, Bangkok.